Last week I made a video on how the GameMaker file system sandbox works. I'll have a link to it on screen if you haven't seen it already. The rabbit hole goes pretty deep. The TLDR is that when you save a file in GameMaker, it will go to a location on your computer known as local storage. That's the local Appdata folder for the user account on your computer. And I don't believe I said this in the video, but on Linux it will go to this location, which is inside your home directory in the .config folder. It's basically the same thing. On other platforms that you might decide to run your game on, it'll be whatever location the device and/or operating system maker decided that everyone should put their local storage files. Now, as we discussed in the file system sandbox video, this is something you should pretty much never actually have to do, but in the event that you actually wanted to get, for example, the full Windows Explorer file path to the folder in Appdata where your game is storing its stuff, it's actually possible to do that within GameMaker. So this is something that it's possible to do on the three desktop targets, so Windows, Linux, and Mac. And the way that you would do that would be to make use of what are known as environment variables. So on Windows, and also on Linux and Mac OS, there is a set of system-wide variables that you can access, and these can be used by your program to do various things. This is actually how GameMaker internally finds the location of the Appdata folder that it wants to store your save games in. Most of these pertain to things such as your user account information, things like the location of your documents folder, things like the location of your user folder, things like the location of the various Appdata folders. If you want to get a full list of all the environment variables on your computer, on Windows, you can open a command prompt like this, and you can use the set command, and if you just type that into the command prompt, you'll get a list of all the various environment variables on your computer. So you can see that we have things such as the Appdata folder. That's the roaming Appdata folder. The local one, which GameMaker will store your saves in by default, is here. There's some other fun things, such as your username on your computer, and also the location of the user profile folder, so your user folder on your computer. There's also some more obscure bits of information that you can obtain from environment variables, such as, for example, CPU information. I have no idea why Windows will give you all this extremely technical information about, your CPU model, but it doesn't appear to, in any environment variable, list the actual name of your CPU. It's a very bizarre choice. Feel free to look this up and figure out what I have inside my computer, by the way. Anyway, on Linux, there's a similar command. I believe off the top of my head it's env. I'll show a screenshot on screen right now of what you get if you punch that into a terminal on Linux, and you can see the Linux equivalent of all the environment variables, and I want to say it also works on Apple computers. So, why are we talking about this? Mostly just because I think it's interesting. Most of what you see here is really not all that useful if you're actually making a game. Theoretically, if you're making a dev tool or something in GameMaker, or if you're just making a dev tool in something else, this might be a little bit more useful if you want to be able to write to the designated temp folder, or something like that, or if you want to be able to store information in the where is it? Oh, here, the program data folder. You might want to fetch the environment variable for something like that. This is really not something that's very useful when you're actually doing a game. The only thing that I can really think of that you might want to use this for in a game is this, where is it? Down here, this line here, the username environment variable. If you want to have, I don't know, the default player name in your game be the name of the user profile on your computer or something. Even that's pretty out there and a little bit ridiculous, but if you wanted to, you could access that using the environment get variable function in GameMaker. What was it? Username or user profile? Username. User profile is the folder in Windows Explorer. So you could say environment get variable, and let's just say for the sake of argument we could show message this, and when we do this, GameMaker will pop up a little message box that says the name of my user profile. Alright, that's cool. And if you did want to, what could a fun example of this be? Again, pretty much all of this is mostly useless in the context of making a GameMaker game, but if you wanted to have an NPC greet you by the name of your user profile, I maybe don't actually do that, because a lot of people might get a little bit weirded out by it. But if you really wanted to, you could go Where's the text that the NPCs will say if you talk to them stored? I want to say, let's go to the NPC object and then in variable definitions. Oh, it's in the base object. Let's set this type from string to expression, and let's type in a string, something like hello environment get variable in all caps in quotes username. Something like this. We could have the NPCs say the name of our user profile. This is probably, like, especially in the modern day, kind of not very useful, because, like, in modern Windows, if you have the account on your computer tied to, like, your Microsoft account, I think the default username will just be the email that's attached to the Microsoft account, and then, like, instead of actually showing the player their name, it'll say, like, hello, Cosmic Panda 1337 or something silly like that. I mostly just consider this environment get variable function to be an interesting curiosity. But I like to tell people that I make videos on the weird stuff you can do in GameMaker, and if this doesn't qualify, I don't know what does. So, my name is Michael. I like wizards and dragons and making games. I like to make videos on the weird things you can do in GameMaker, so if anything like this appeals to you, feel free to subscribe. I have a Patreon, so if you want to contribute to the channel, links to that can be found in all the usual places. You should all go check out Wizarducks and the Lost Hat, which is the game that I like to work on when I'm not doing YouTube stuff. Link to the Steam page can be found down below. I hope you all enjoyed that, and I will see you all later. Special thanks to Zenjamin, VitroV, Squarecrow, Spy Die Games, Manta Ray, GameMaker, Edward Holt, and DJ Gibbles for supporting these videos. If you want to contribute to the channel, head on over to the Patreon page down in the video description to join the fun.